So you love your baby, you want to sit and hold your baby, but sometimes you feel a little bit trapped by your baby. I know that sounds terrible, but you just look around and there's things you've got to get done. And, some of it can wait. And then sometimes it's like, okay, no, I would feel so much better if those dishes were done, or if I could just make some progress on laundry, or if I could just do a quick tidy. It would just be so good for my mental health. I mean, that's where I find myself a lot of times. I want to just sit and be, but then again, there's stuff to do. So maybe you find yourself in that place today. And I'm going to share some tips for you to be more productive as a mom with a new baby. And I have 5 children from 10 years old down to almost 1 year. And so I've had to get really creative on how to get things done. And also I've talked to just like older, wiser women and like, how do you get anything done? How do you homeschool with your kids? How do you do this or that? So I'm going to share all that I have learned both from my experience and talking to like my friend who has 9 children and her kids are grown. Tried to glean all I can and just bring it to you today, and hopefully you can walk away with some tips today just to feel empowered, like just to get things done and help your baby feel secure and loved. We shouldn't have to sacrifice one for the other just to get some things done. So let's get into it. So hey, my name is Lana. This is Girl Teach Me. This whole channel is just to help you on this journey of motherhood. It is not an easy journey. It's literally the best journey I've ever been on and one of the hardest journeys I've ever been on. So this channel is for you. It's not about me. It's about helping you. And so I would love to have you here. So I hope you'll hit subscribe. Okay, so the first one is to just tell yourself the truth. It takes 5 minutes to put a baby carrier on. And before you turn me off because you're like, Lana, I hate the baby carrier. It hurts my back. I just want to say, sometimes you just have to either find the right carrier or just build up the muscles doing the carrier. I know that sometimes you say the baby doesn't really like it. I think if you just press through, find a different, maybe the baby's ready to go on the back, or, maybe you just need to fit it a little bit better. Just give it a shot because it's going to help you keep baby close and, just work in increments of 5 to 10 minutes when you're getting started with a baby carrier. If you just feel like it's not working for you, because it's going to be so nice just to keep baby on you. They're going to be listening to you, watching and learning. There's so much development that can happen while they are close to you, and then you get to bust a move. And I said to tell yourself the truth only because I feel like what we tell ourselves really changes our whole day. And so really it only takes a couple minutes. I think sometimes it feels like, oh, the baby carrier is in the car. I don't want to go get it. It's just a hassle to put it on. But once I put it on, it just feels like I can start moving. And the second thing, I say this in a lot of my videos, if you've heard it before, it's just set a 10-minute timer. Once you have that baby carrier on, just set a 10-minute timer and do a doable portion of dishes or laundry. I know sometimes we just like want to do so much and maybe we get going and we feel great. But honestly, just setting a 10-minute timer, it kind of takes the decisions out of it. I think sometimes as moms, we have decision fatigue. And so instead of deciding when you're going to be done, just set a 10-minute timer. That doesn't mean you have to work aggressively and go crazy. It just means like, okay, after 10 minutes, I'm going to reassess. And if I feel good, if the toddler's happy or if the baby's happy, I'm just going to keep going. And if they're not, I did a doable portion and I feel pretty good. Okay, the third one is to just set the baby down somewhere close. If the baby's happy in the carrier, that's great. But like, if the baby's getting fussy, just set the baby down close to you. They need tummy time. They need floor time. Maybe just fold a load of laundry. Like, don't feel bad about setting your baby down, especially if baby's close. It's even okay sometimes just to set the baby in the pack and play or the crib for like 10 minutes because they just developmentally need to be down. They need to be quadruped. They need to be just developing, on a surface. So keeping them close is also great, and then you can get something done. I just don't want you to feel mama guilt. You're not a bad mom for setting your baby down for a couple of minutes in a safe place while you get something done. And you're going to go back and have started laundry and all of that, or folded laundry or folded some laundry and put it away. And then you can go back and grab your baby. Okay, the fourth thing is while you feed your baby, try to turn it into a moment that you really enjoy and look forward to. That could be listening to a podcast. It could be listening to Audible. It could be reading. I think eye contact is really important, but turn it into something that is going to be life-giving. One of my recent videos is talking about being an exhausted mom, and I talk about energy givers and energy vampires. And sometimes I think when we sit down and we like start to go through our messages and then we get on Instagram or whatever and we're scrolling, it's actually going to be sucking energy from us because one, people are going to be needing things from us. And then two, we're going to be just seeing all this stuff coming at us through social media. Some of it can incite emotional responses all the things that could make us feel like we're not that great of a mom, or we need to be doing this or that. It just can kind of suck life from us. So just try to do something that's life-giving, either for your mind or your soul during that time. It can just be a really rejuvenating experience that you actually look forward to. And in light of being productive, it helps if we're getting energy. It's not going to help us to be productive to just have our life sucked from us like a vampire, because we're seeing all these things that we should be doing, but we don't have the bandwidth to do. So honestly, I have been off Instagram for like 7 months. I've quit my smartphone. It's like a whole thing for me, and I'm going to make a video about it. But I am surprised how much more energy I have, because I just didn't realize how much energy was going out to those places. And I had to kind of get away from it for a little while just to realize that it was actually an energy suck for me and not actually as life-giving as I thought it was. Okay, so maybe you've got yourself feeling good. Maybe you're moving. You've got some tasks going. One thing that can really help your productivity just skyrocket as a mom is to go ahead and start dinner after breakfast. Again, I talked about this in my last video, Exhausted Moms Tips, but I think a big drain on our energy and just like our bandwidth, like just decision making, is what's for dinner. It's going to happen every single day. Why are we surprised? So go ahead and start it after breakfast. That's going to boost your productivity, because if you already have that going, then in the afternoon, evening, you can kind of be picking up your house. You can kind of already have the big dishes done from cooking dinner, and all the dishes you'll have to do is just like what you ate off of, and it can kind of help you wind down in the evening, which is going to help you then get more sleep and help you feel better in the morning. So I think just start dinner sooner. The next one comes from my heart, because I know it can feel like you either want to show the world how much you've done that day, or you want to show your husband how much you've done that day. But honestly, the more we can just tune into that audience of one, just like, okay, Lord, you see all that I'm doing. You know that I am trying really hard to run a household, take care of these kids, get food on the table. Maybe you're working on the side to make money. The Lord sees all that you're doing, and there may not be lots of like pretty boxes that you can check that the world can see, but it helps a lot to just live for the audience of one and really just be contented that the Lord sees our work, and He sees us trying to be a godly, wise woman, a loving mother. And so just, if you don't please anybody else but you are pleasing the Lord, you're doing a fabulous job. Okay, the next one is super important. I think a lot of moms really struggle in this area, and I know I have at certain times, especially when I've moved to a new area and I don't know a lot of people, but it's to find some people that you trust and to get some help. And I think it can be scary, because I think we have a lot of like, well, what if this happens or that happens? But I think it's really, really hard to just go at it completely alone. Like finding some friends we trust, finding some sitters we trust, some college gals we trust. It has just really bridged a gap for me. I've never really lived close to family, and I've kind of had to rely like on my church body and some good college girls I get to know, which actually, they become good friends, and it becomes a great discipling opportunity. But just not going at it alone. And because I think what I hear from a lot of women, and I have felt this way, is, Lana, what do I do if I don't have a lot of help? Like, there's nobody I can help. I can ask for help from. And what I want to say is, you can do something about that. You can create relationships. You can build friendships. You can control that. It's not going to happen overnight, but you can start asking some older, wiser women, like, who do you trust? And interview them, vet them, ask them hard questions if you have concerns. Do what you can to feel safe and to trust them. But to just think you're not going to trust anybody is really going to leave you in a bad spot as a woman, because we are needed and we're needy, and at some point we're going to need help. So I think it's so important to have a community around us, and it's not a waste of time by any means. The next one is almost like a little bit of like soul self-care, but one thing I love is to consider, like, sometimes the quickest way we can chop down a tree, according to Abe Lincoln, was to sharpen our axe. Like, I think he said, if he had to chop down a tree and he had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to butcher this quote, but I think it was like Abe Lincoln saying if he had 8 hours to chop down a tree, he would spend the first 7 hours sharpening his axe. And one way that we can really spend time sharpening our axe, and I want to personally get back to this because I used to do this, and I feel like now I use a lot of my spare time to like do YouTube and stuff, but I want to get back to just planning some intentional dates with Jesus. I used to just get out, sometimes at 6 a.m. and before my husband would work, and just go to like Starbucks or a coffee shop for like an hour and a half of just complete quiet and just reading my Bible, journaling. I like to work through something called a journal, where you're like writing the word. Those times were so life-giving, and honestly, I had to fight for it. I was like looking up, when does the coffee shop open? Because I needed control to come back to me. Like I felt like I was never getting a break, and so I just created one for myself, even if I had to go without a little bit of sleep. Just prioritizing, okay, this Tuesday morning I'm going to get out to a coffee shop and read the word. It's going to happen, and I'm going to have some extended time in the word. It's fine just getting little bits here and there, but sometimes we just need to sit with it for a little while and sit with our thoughts and talk with the Lord. It's just such a regenerative time. So this is a word for me too. Sometimes in light of being productive, we have to slow down, rest a little bit, regroup, sharpen our axe, and then we can come back and be better and actually get more done. The next one is to get a hobby or start building a skill that we actually love. And I know you're like, Lana, I've got stuff to do. Like, I do not have time for that. I'm trying to be productive. But I think one thing we don't recognize or realize is that sometimes we're doing tasks that we don't necessarily love. Like sometimes we're having to push through and do the next right thing. But what can be really cool is to develop the skill, let's say, of like bread making. Okay, well, I need to make food anyways, but I'm going to try to like get better at the skill of bread making. And it's fun for me. It's life-giving. It's a challenge. I'm putting my hands into something that is really rewarding and also feeds my family. And so I think that I think a lot of women really overlook the skills and the craft and of homemaking, that we kind of think there's just like, okay, I've just got to get through the day. I've just got to do laundry. I've just got to do dishes. But actually it can help us be so much more productive because we're having this like influx of excitement and energy around doing something with homemaking that we actually love. A joy shared is a joy doubled. So maybe it's something with our baby that we just bring the baby along, we put them in the stroller while we paint furniture or something like that. So just connecting to the heart of homemaking can actually help us be so much more productive. The next one goes along with relationships, but just be trying to make friends and really making friends with women who challenge you and make you better. You know, they say you're the sum of the people that are like the 3 closest people to you. I am always trying to keep the friends around me, like my inner circle, women who are just like leveled up, women who are trying to have the best marriage they can, trying to be the best mother they can, trying to know and love the Lord as much as they can. Women who are like excited about missions and who are generous and who are really leaning in and doing the hard work without complaining. Like that's who I'm trying to surround myself with. And so just if there's a woman you really admire and you want to be more like her, pursue her. Ask if you can spend time with her. It's okay if she rejects you, move on to the next woman, but like go walking, get a coffee date. It's going to up-level you so much just to see how they are even being productive as a woman. The next thing is to say no. Energy vampires, things that are sucking the life out of you. If you're not giving a full body yes, you feel like you're going to be drugged behind a truck just because you said yes and you didn't want to. Eliminate those things from your life. It's going to give you so much more energy. You're going to be so much more productive. Maybe you're schedule's too packed with lots of things and you're not actually getting anything done. Like you're busy, but you're not productive. So I would just say, you know, if the new year's coming around or a new season's coming around, like reset your schedule, just say no to some things. It's okay to let people down. Like, in fact, it's wonderful. You're not going to please everybody. Like back to the audience of one, please the Lord first and foremost. People will either get over it or they weren't like a person you needed to really have in your life anyways. And so I just say no. It feels hard, but it's freeing in the end. Okay, the next one is to do a doable portion with laundry and work 1 load of laundry to completion. I think most women, and including myself, get kind of bogged down when it comes to the folding and the putting away. It's the putting away that just feels so hard. So instead of like getting 4 loads of laundry semi-going, I think it is sometimes better just to work 1 to 2 loads of laundry to completion and leave the next load for the next day instead of just like washing a bunch and having a mountain that's really overwhelming, especially if you don't have a place to put that. Just that pile of laundry can be a trigger anyways and make us feel like we're not doing enough. So if you're behind on laundry, feeling defeated by laundry, perhaps, you know, with the baby, it's just all hard, you know, just work 1 load to completion before you even start the next load. And maybe just have the next load loaded up in the washing machine. You could start it that night, change it in the morning. My dear friend Margaret Matheny, that's like her system. She starts a load at night. She changes it the first thing in the morning to the dryer. It's drying. And then in the morning before lunchtime, her goal is to have that load put away. And that's just so nice. And you can reload the washing machine. And then that night, I now have 5 children, and so I have to basically work like 2 to 3 loads of laundry to completion. But I've just decided there's no sense in complaining about laundry. Praise the Lord, we have washing machines, and we're not out there like, doing the old school laundry with a fire and all the things. I mean, my grandmother told me she was like she remembers washing cloth diapers outside without a washing machine. So I don't know. We have it pretty good. We just have to change our perspective. Laundry is just part of life. So no need complaining about it. Just work one load to completion, and then you can feel so good about yourself that you got that done. And the next and last one is just get out with a stroller. Get out with a stroller. I don't care if the baby doesn't love the stroller. Like, they can learn to love it. Like, teach them to love the stroller, because it's going to give you so much freedom to get out. My sweet neighbor, she gets out every single day and walks with her baby at the same time. It's like clockwork. I'm not quite like that, but when I feel a little crazy, it's like strapping them into the stroller. Like, I got a double stroller. I have worn that thing out. Like, I've dry rotted the clasps out because I've used it so much. But I especially love a bob stroller. I think that the Thule is really good too. My neighbor has that one. But having a stroller and getting outside, the sun is such an energy giver. Maybe you have neighbors. It's a chance to get out and talk and see your neighbors and connect. But it's just a mama break, to be honest. Like, I've listened to podcasts. It's like strapping them in and you're like, whew. Okay, all right, I can just chill for a second. I know they're safe. I can listen to something I want to. I can make a phone call, and I can just walk and move. Like, just exercise is an energy giver. And so definitely just getting outside and making it a priority will give so much life to you, I promise, and help you be more productive. I really think our productivity is either zapped by our thoughts oftentimes. Those are like energy vampires, just these negative thoughts in our head. We're not moving enough, and we're not getting enough energy, or we're trying to do too many things or please too many people. And so I think if we can manage our energy, it's really, really helpful to help us up-level our productivity as a mom. And the last thing I want to say is, if you are a brand new mom, you are learning to do a job that you have never done before. And nobody's going to be excellent at a job when they first start. It's going to take time to learn a job, especially if you're in a workplace. It takes time to train and learn. But we're kind of on our own learning how to take care of a baby. So much grace, so much grace. My first baby was like my guinea pig, and it got easier and easier to have the baby. Like, the baby phase got easier. Now my great adventure is like, I've never had a 10-year-old. All to say, if you feel down on yourself because you don't know how to get anything done with a baby, nobody does at the beginning. It's just hard, and you are doing so much, and it's such important work. Mothering is just so important. I wish I could help you feel how very, very important your work is. I know, especially in our culture right now, motherhood is not held up on high, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom. It's like, well, what do you do all day? A lot. You're doing a lot. And those babies are completely helpless. They need us. We are the environment for our baby. And I just wanted to encourage you in that. I would love to have you here. This whole channel is to help you be a more intentional mama, to help you love motherhood more, just to give you some tips and tricks, help you not feel alone. Like, motherhood can be a lonely journey sometimes. So I hope this channel just feels like a good place to come back and get a nudge for your day. It's my goal for this channel, so I would love to have you here. Tell me in the comments below some of the things that help you get going with a baby. I would love to hear from you. I love your ideas. I love learning from you. So tell me down below what just gets you going, when you feel like you're in a funk and you have a new baby. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you again in the next video.